Good evening and welcome to Shitalath Conversations, yet another Sunday evening 7 p.m. IST show. This is Jugal Koul, your host, calling from the Shitalath Conversations studio. And this is almost every Sunday rendezvous. We do it together, and people are now used to getting into the Shitalath Conversations Sunday evening shows. I hope you must have spent your Sunday very well and I know here since couple of days over a lot of rain. Uh, Inderji was in a very fierce mood and he was a terrifying mood, and we had this torrential, incessant rain going on all along, which has created a devastation and havoc all across. Today only we got a bit of respite because sun was a bit of glitter of sun came in, and it humbled down this rain, this god of the rain in the day, and somewhere down the line it is there. Today we are having our 66th Shitalath conversation show, and this show is that shows about the trumpet of sagas, about the stories about the great accomplishments in the public domain, and also about the great brilliant brains and brilliant minds and creative geniuses. The Odyssey of Shitalath conversations is a crisscross, you know, is a crisscross through these wonderful these wonderful situations and these wonderful nuggets which are connected with us from time to time. I mean, which are impregnate with the aroma of our civilization of Kashmir, the cradle, cathedral, and crown of Indian civilization. I am once again indebted to all of you, all the people all across the globe, to once again connecting with Shitalath conversation. Sorry, I got a bit late because there was some technical snag happening on the other side. So I really apologize for that. It doesn't matter; it's a recorded version. You can see it at any point of time in our archives library. And this from times of the ancient sciences to the wisdoms, from the timeless geniuses in every time, and contemporary brains, contemporary minds, contemporary intelligentsia, this administrators, civil servants, corporate heads, educators, you know, travelers and travelogues, chroniclers and chronicles, treatises, flora and fauna, clips, you know, transitions and monarchies, art, culture, literature, musicology. All these nuggets are the timeless, numberless, snippets of this wonderful mosaic known as Shitalath conversations. Uh, as we all must be knowing that, and if we go back a bit, I'll take you a bit back into the British era. Indian civil service examination for the Indian indigenous Indians were there in the British colonial rule also, who were the great civil servants. They were trained in ICS, and this is this same ICS cadre which was created for becoming an interlocutor between the public and the colonial rulers, had become a great boom during our independence period, because during our independence period, the hurricane partition, the back shades of the hurricane partition which had happened across, and it had created a euphoria, genocide, mobocracy. This was all tackled by these great civil servants of those times, and later they became the pioneers in developing the fires and infrastructure of this great country. Over the decades, our indigenous Indian administration service cadre has graduated into a very, very powerful tool mechanism, where all the great reservoirs and great minds of the contemporary India, they come together and they manage this vast land of mysteries, vast gigantic land, with so much of complexity, so much of diversities, putting it back to the rails of progression and rails of development and rails of other challenging aspects. So, and Kashmiris have shown a very, very marked presence as far as the Indian bureaucracy is concerned, especially in post-independence time. There were ICS officers also, Kashmiri ICS officers also during the British period, but later on they've given their presence felt, their remarkable work especially in the country's politics and complexities and change of power centers. They've always been remarkable in their displays, and they have been marked and respected all across. Many weeks ago, we had a very interesting guest, first women IAS officer from Kashmir, Sudha Kaldi. She was here in the Shitalath conversation. It was a very interesting conversation. But there was always an ambiguity with another great personality, women personality from Kashmir, Dr. C.K. Gariyali, who was normally supposed, people were taking that she was the senior or they are of the same batch. And I just put this entire this ambiguity to the rest when I talked to the Dr. Garyali many days back, and she finally said that she is the junior one, and senior one was Sudha Kolji. And Sudha Kolji finally left this service and went to the America to settle with her family, while the Dr. C.K. Garyali continued. It's a matter of sheer joy and coincidence that today we have with us one of the most brilliant personalities, women personality of Kashmir, the civil servant from 1972 batch IAS, and who is a very widely acclaimed author and a social activist, Dr. C.K. Garyali, in our studio. She is born in Kashmir, her native land, Kashmir. Dr. Garyali has been to the she has been to this Howard University. She has been for Howard University, and she's also a doctorate into women empowerment from Mother Teresa University. Being the collector, being a collector from in Madras, and also later the first women civil servant of the country to become the principal secretary to the His Excellency Governor of Tamil Nadu, and later also the first women civil servant of the country who became the principal secretary to the then Prime Minister, then Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu. She has made a remarkable presence in the all layers and the spheres of bureaucracy of Tamil Nadu, this southern state, wonderful southern state, which she chose as a place to work on, to use her as Karambhumi since the time she was, I mean, brought into the cadre of civil services in 1972. So she's also a very widely awarded personality, and for her role into the women empowerment and eradication of poverty by the national and international organizations. And she has been the part of many very international reputed organizations like World Bank, Danida, CIRCAP, and IFED, etc. And besides, she has also been on the as an honorable advisory council member on the committees, great prestigious committees set up by Government of India. So this is a wonderful journey. Without wasting much of the time, let us welcome Dr. C.K. Garyali into the Shitalath Conversation studio. I think there was a snag at her end. I hope by this time the snag must have worked out. And let's welcome with great reverence and great warmth to our native from Kashmir, who was a civil servant of 1972 batch, and who has done laurels. And she is one of the most bureaucrat, mostly respected not only in Tamil Nadu, across the India, for her great endeavors and great works even after her retirement. Uh, you are not connected.
Connected now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, please. You're welcome, ma'am. Welcome to the 66th Shitalnath Conversation Show. I think this is going to be a very interesting show after a lot of spectacle running here and
Yes,
there. I
yes,
think
yeah.
this connection of yours is going to sustain for a period of or so.
No, it will be fine now. So thank you very much. Sorry for everybody. Apologies, and I think we will be all right from here. So I was born in Kashmir in Narparistan
Yes,
Ghat.
I was just going to intervene here. I was going to ask you about, because in our first segment we take the visitor to the Kashmir, your memories
Yes,
of Kashmir, because you are born there and you lived in Delhi and Kashmir simultaneously. Let us all know and jog down your memory and to come to the lanes of Kashmir, understand your family
yeah.
structure, social structure, Kashmiriyat, Kashmiri mindset structure, the culture at the family, and the school and the college, and many, many other things which you have seen in Kashmir in this segment. Please.
I'll. So to begin with, I was born in Narparistan Ghat. Our house was on the river, beautiful because
Okay.
the elite houses were on the river. So and there were boats moored to our houses, and we used to get preference in taking a boat and going to school or crossing the river. My grandmother always got preference because the boat was moored to her house, to the pillar of her house. So they were like our boats, that they were like our boatmen. And they were part of all our festivals. And if we had a wedding, we had to give them clothes and we had to give them gifts and all that. So that was one part of, how the communities lived together. And even this boatman took the girls to their susral when they used to get married. My mother, my aunts, when they got married, the same boatman will take them to the in-laws' house in the boat and carry all the goods and the gifts, etc. And so that was very interesting thing I learned when I was going there. Then another thing was we used to we used to lower a basket from the window on the river side, and the fisherman will put the fish in the basket, and we will pull the basket up through the window. So that is another thing I remember, that all the fish we used to get from the river, or any other thing which was sold, sometimes singada or sometimes anything else. We will lower a basket and then they will send the money down with the basket. So we didn't have to leave the house and go out. Another thing was there was this cow pit, the little shelf for the crow, and the first rice was put on the shelf for the crow to eat. Nobody took the food till the crow had eaten. So that was the respect showed to crow. And then, of course, we had the festival of, cow punyam and all that. So that was another thing, and we could just. It was very
Cow
close to
punyam.
the window,
Cow,
so we could
cow punyam.
cow
Cow punyam.
punyam,
Is that? Yeah.
cow pudding. So but every day, first, as soon as food was cooked, the first ladle of rice was put for the crow, and then only the head of the family was served the food, and then others came. So those are very interesting way the people live in harmony with the nature, with the birds, with the animals. Now everybody put a little morsel of food outside the plate for the
Harmony.
dog, the who in met. So
Punyam.
that we thought of the stray dogs, we thought of the stray birds, we thought of the stray dogs. So all this we learned. My father, even when my parents were living in Delhi, every time they ate, they always kept the who in met. Both of them till they died. So they were living in Delhi, but they were following all those things very, very nicely. And I remember that we were next to our ghat was called Narparistan Ghat, and so there was a big ground there. That was the
Okay.
Narparistan ground where there was a cemetery, there was little mausoleum, and also in the same place they were conducting weddings and all. On one side there'll be graveyard, one side a saint's mausoleum, and the open space. We remember the makal of my mama and his sons and all that. It was all done in that ground, which was,
Okay.
and Hindu weddings happened there, Muslim weddings also happened there, functions happened there, mazas happened there. People put
So,
shamiana and
so
did
great
everything.
innocent
Uh,
times,
uh,
times of harmony.
uh,
Great
and I
innocent
remember
times,
when
times of
Maharaj,
harmony.
yeah, my Masi got married in that house. I was about 8 year old and she was about 16 and she got married. And I remember everybody in the street to welcome the Maharaja. All the Hindus, Muslim, all the men got out and they were all on the both sides of the streets and they were welcoming. So and even they put some mala of ilaichi or something. To the bridegroom. So that was the thing. And on their wedding also, all our people will go and they will also welcome the barat. So that was the custom. And I remember another thing that to decorate the street, all the, of course, Hindu women only wore saris, so they will all give their two, three saris, and they will be put across the street like the banners, beautiful banners. You can imagine the whole street used to be decorated with silk saris when the barat was coming, when the bridegroom was coming. So it was another thing which is in my childhood memory to see those silk saris hanging across the street, throughout the street, till the ghat. Our house was on the ghat. So from the road to the ghat, the beautiful saris were hung to welcome the. It was all contributed voluntarily, and the people lived in each other's houses. Now all the baratis will, I mean, not the all the guests will live in the neighborhood houses. So that a compound, there are 4 houses. Everybody will give 1 or 2 rooms. All the beddings will come from everybody's house, and everybody will sit on the ground and eat. There were no tables and all, and we'll eat on the patta leaf ke upar khana khate the. All the dawats and all. We had that a round plate made of the leaves. So it was very interesting, and entire work. There was no caterers and all. Of course, there will be vaza. The cooks and his assistants will be there, but it was the men and women who served the food. I remember my Masi's Mehndi Raat, entire work was done, the serving of food, but all the young men going with those little
Yeah.
buckets and ladles and serving the food. And it was like that. It was so simple and so innocent. When I recently went to Jammu and I saw these huge big buildings in enormous halls and costing 10 lakhs and 5 lakhs and 15 lakhs,
More than that.
I was
More
really
than that.
shocked. Yes, and each wedding costing 30, 40, 50 lakhs. So one family I went, and not a very big officer and all that. He is only a I mean, draftsman kind of person in a
Okay.
architect's, I mean, government office. Now
Okay.
he spent about 40, 50 lakhs on his. So I asked him, you could have gotten a small apartment for this money. So we have lost that, that simplicity which was in Kashmir. I sometimes feel we have lost it. I mean, we try to imbibe it. My wedding was very simple, and I conducted my daughter's wedding in Madras, which was very simple. But I was shocked that one thing we are losing is that simplicity and really that coming together and doing things together, celebrating festival together. So that was my very interesting observation of this marriage. Another thing I remember, I just want to share it because there's so much of tension between communities, Hindu, Muslim, and all that kind of divide has
Yeah.
happened. Now, our childhood, we didn't see that. And in older generation, you see, my father, he lost his mother when he was a baby, when he was an infant, and he still needed to have mother's milk. And he was breastfed by a Muslim woman who was living in the locality who had a small child. He was the only one available. And so she volunteered to breastfeed him for 1 or 2 years till he was good enough, because those days baby food and this and that was not available. So if a mother died, somebody else has to feed the child. Some other woman has to feed the child. So my father kept connection with the woman till she died, and then he kept connection with his daughter, her daughter, because he considered her sister. Every time he went to Kashmir, he carried gift for them because he thought she was her foster mother. So those kind of things, relationships we used to have, which I wanted to share, that my father had a foster mother who was a Muslim. Similarly, my mother, that time when marriages took place, even for my mother, there used to be one Dadbab and Dadmaj. That's like a foster mother and foster father for a bride.
Okay.
So when bride goes to her house, this foster mother and foster father used to go with her and leave her in her susral, because her own parents could not go. They were not going to
Oh.
daughter's house. Even for leaving her, they won't go. Maybe the young brother or somebody will go, but the foster parents will go. And these foster parents were always Muslim, a Muslim couple, either a boatman or anybody else, or maybe your Dudwala and his wife. So Dudwalas were always Muslim. What we used to call them. What is the name for Dudwala in
Gur,
Kashmiri?
gur,
I
gur, gur,
forget.
gur, gur.
गुर, हाँ तो हाँ गुर और उसकी वाइफ, नहीं तो ये हमारे बोट वाले, हमारी मम्मी के शादी के लिए तो our boatman and his wife only were the foster parents, that is Dadbab to Dadmaj. And their job role was very peculiar. They used to go and visit the bride once in a while, because they don't know whether the girl is being treated well or not. तो वो खबर लेने जाते थे. because they could enter the house. They were,
Great
after
choice.
all, ordinary common folk. They will go and they will also carry badam and elaichi and quietly give it to her, because she will be expected to go on putting badam and elaichi in the chai, and they won't give. She has to produce it. So this supply will come surreptitiously through these people, which she will keep in the big pockets of her ferren. And whenever tea is, she's asked to make chai, she will produce and put this. She cannot ask her mother-in-law, ilaichi nahi hai, mujhe ilaichi de do, badam de do. So this very interesting things I have seen, that they used to carry these things quietly and give her, so that her pockets will be always full. They will also give some money, because suppose she needs something and quietly wants to buy something, they will give money. And they will also find out how she is being treated, whether she is happy or unhappy, and give a report back home. She is happy or doesn't look very happy. And doesn't look very happy, they will make an excuse and say, isko ghar le jana hai, so that she'll get some respite and spend some time in her mother's house. So they will also go to bring her and all that. So all these things were very, very interesting about Kashmir, which I wanted to share. In the later life, these are childhood memories. Later time, I went twice. I did my postgraduate study in Kashmir. I was student of Delhi School of Social Work, and my final year thesis was on child labor in carpet industry. So I went to Kashmir. I spent 3 4 months, and I went and visited all the carpet industries, all the factories. Then I met all the children, small children from 6 years to 10 years, 12 years. They were working. And they used to be put in the factory at the age of 4 or 5, and they were like bonded labor. The factory, this master weaver, he will give 10,000 rupees or 15,000 rupees to family, and then for entire till he's 18 or something, he'll be going on working there, and he will, small child, because they wanted small children, because they had nimble fingers, and since they had nimble fingers, they could weave the very fine carpets. Can you imagine? No education, nothing, very simple food to be given. And so I visited their homes also, the homes of the
Okay.
children, to find out why parents were sending them. So I did a lot of studies. So I met a lot of cross section of society. I met factory owners, I met master weavers, I met mothers and fathers of children, and I met children themselves. So I spent a lot of time doing that. And I got a big insight about the society, the poor people, rich people. Rich were the owners, poor were the workers, and all that kind of thing. Then another time I was assisting another scholar in doing a study on family planning at that time. So I visited all the hospitals, met doctors, talked to the women, whether they were accepting to have smaller families or not and all. So I had two major areas when I did studies in Kashmir, and during my student days. Both these happened during my student days. So, I have I learned Kashmiri. My brothers and all didn't like learn that much. But in 1956, my grandfather died. So when my grandfather died, he had told my grandmother that you have to go and live with only your youngest son in Delhi. You will not live in Kashmir. Probably, he thought that other daughter-in-law may not take care of her and all that. The younger son, he trusted him. So then my mother came and to take her to Delhi. And that lady was a wonderful lady, a very beautiful woman. And all her life she wore only ferran, Delhi में भी. वो अपना फेरन, पूछ, लूंग सब पहन के बैठती थी घर में. हमारे घर में लोग रोज आते थे उसको. People will come to see her. We have to see your grandmother, because right from 1956 till she died, she was wearing her feran. She was wearing her talras and all this dishor and all that. All those things she was wearing. She had one chain in her neck in which there was, one instrument for cleaning the teeth, one instrument for
Yeah.
cleaning the कान.
Lip the
या
hair.
दंद लाल, तो पता नहीं क्या क्या बोलते थे उसको. But she had all those things hanging in her neck, and she was a real museum piece. And there was a bead in our house to see her, and she remained like that, and it was so beautiful with blue eyes and beautiful complexion. So she, my father told me, you have to look after your grandmother. grandmother. So now I slept with her most of the days and all that. So I learned Kashmiri from her because she came. My brothers didn't spend so much of time with her, so they understand and they can talk a bit. But I think I know the language properly. Even today,
Your,
after so many years,
your
I
parents, your parents had come out of Kashmir in 1947, just after your birth. I mean, did they?
No, for 1940, no, they came out in 1948. So I was born in the middle of the 1948. So about September, October, you know, after the Kabaili Hamla, they also had some losses and they had bad experience. My father had come from Lahore. He was in Lahore before partition. So when partition happened, he came back to Kashmir. And then from Kashmir, when most of his friends went to Delhi from Lahore, so and
Okay.
then they had this Kabaili thing happened and people were very unhappy. So he also went to Delhi. So we lived in Delhi after that, and we first lived in Old Delhi. And Old Delhi, we lived in Sitaram Bazaar. And Sitaram Bazaar was
Kashmir.
the place where all the old Kashmiris lived. And the wonderful thing was there was a beautiful person called Nanna Patwa. Nanna Patwa used to make athor. And it's got
Atur.
athor were so beautiful, athor for the dishor. And because that has to be made in silk, and then you have to put, and he used to put pearls, and he used to put, all kinds of beautiful things in them. And orders will come from Kashmir. Kashmir man, nobody makes such beautiful athor because this she has been making for aristocratic Kashmiri women of Sitaram Bazaar,
Sitaram
Lucknow,
Bazaar,
Agra,
all the
Jaipur.
Agra, Jaipur.
So all these places he was making. हाँ, जयपुर से ऑर्डर आते थे, लखनऊ से आते थे. फिर हम लोग आने के बाद कश्मीर से आने लगे बिकॉज हमारे रिश्तेदारों ने देखा ये तो इतने सुंदर बनाता है. तो शादियों में तो मैं आधा टाइम उस दुकान पे बैठी होती थी. आई यूज्ड टू बी सिटिंग इन शॉप वेटिंग फॉर हिम टू डू फिनिशिंग टच बिकॉज देयर विल बी पीपल वेटिंग कि हमको वी नीड दिस ब्यूटीफुल वन. And even for my wedding, he made beautiful ones with pearls and the onyxes, green stones and pearls. The lower
Okay.
part of Athor, no? which is made of pearls and things. So he was so fine, and I believe his ancestors had come from Kashmir. So maybe 100 years ago, when दिल्ली में लोग आते थे उनके अठोर बने, तो somebody brought him, one of the aristocrats brought him to Delhi, said and come. Now then nobody from Kashmiri Mussalman gave him a girl in marriage. So he was not able to get married. He went to Kashmir one or two times, tried to get married. No. Then he married one Pathan girl. So since then, their family was marrying Mughals and Pathans. So this was some fourth or fifth generation. So they still had a little bit of Kashmiri blood in them. So I believe now that shop is not there. It was there till I got married. My sisters got married. Others have got. We all. But recently, I went to Old Delhi. I looked for the shop. The shop was not there. So that was one interesting thing. Sitaram Bazaar was the Nanihal of Indira Gandhi. Indira Gandhi's
Indira Gandhi, Haksar,
parents lived there.
Haksar, Haksar's calls.
Her brother, Haksars lived there next to the mandir. Our mandir was 84 Ghante ka mandir. The temple with 84 bells. It had 84
84
bells on the roof. So, yes. So, and their house is just next to that. And there was another street behind the temple. It was called Chudi Walan. Now, Chudi Walan had a separate gully. It was called Gully Kashmiriya. उसका
Gully
नाम ही था
Kashmir.
गली. And one of my friends, Gandhi Kashmirian, and there were a few Kashmiri families still there when we were there. And some of the girls went to school with me, so we used to come back from school. Rajasthan family was there, and some other families were there.
Rajdans.
So the whole gully at one time would have been inhabited by Kashmiri people there. Then we
And
had
Balimara was
old time
Galib's Haveli was there. Balimara
Balli
was not far.
Mara. Uh, uh, yeah, Balli Mara mein Ghalib Saab's Haveli was there, and few Kashmiri families lived in Balli Mara also. This gentleman called Kedarnath Pandita, who was a correspondent in Indian Express, and his brother, they
Okay.
both used to live in Balli Mara, so we used to go and visit them. And he retired from Indian Express. So there's another man who lived in our street in Sitaram Bazar. Uska naam tha Bishambarnath Kaul. Bishambarnath Kaul was the first man who was reading news on All India Radio in Kashmiri. Every night we used to hear his news. I don't know whether it comes. Those days, All India Radio gave one small news where Bishambarnath calls a khabre suniye and he will speak in Kashmiri. It was wonderful to hear that Kashmiri news from Delhi All India Radio. So he used to live in our street, and they were our neighbors, and there were lots of other neighbors. There was Durganath Kaul. Durganath, he was also working for Indian Express. Many people were working in for newspapers, and there was a Mr. Khosa, who was a masterji. So he was teaching high school, and I used to go and take tuition with him, and he taught me also. So we had lots and lots. There was a Saprus Haveli also nearby, but
Sabru Havel.
Saprus are no more there. That was Tej Narayan, Tej Bahadur Sapru,
Tej
unki
Bahadur
Haveli.
Sabru.
So it was huge, huge Haveli there in Sitaram Bazar, but it was now abandoned and it was no one was there. So when people came from Pakistan, that Haveli was given to some 7, 8 families to live. Or nearly 8 families living in that Haveli. Somebody in the ground floor, somebody in this part, somebody in that part, somebody's attic. So it was huge. And since it was like a common place, so we all used to go and play there. And and there was a mosque nearby. It's called Kala Masjid. Kala Masjid is much older than Jama Masjid. It is of the time of Kutubuddin Aibak. And
Kutubuddin
the
Abbas.
gully in which we studied, it was so old. It is the oldest mosque in Delhi. And that was just across from our house. And our house itself, gully was called Gully Kutubuddin. So we were living in number 266 Gali Kutubi, and Samne Masjid thi. Now the mosque, it was huge, long steps and turrets and all that. And we'll be always playing in that mosque. We get on the top, we'll fly kites on the top. Nobody stopped us. Nobody told you should not get into mosque and play. No mullah, etc. stopped us. They were okay. So I remember the whole of childhood running around on the top of that mosque, which was a very beautiful, old and solid historical mosque. So that is my. And then we had this Kashmiri Vaza and Kashmiri Gore in Sitaram Bazar. There have been these Athorwala, Gore, and Vazas always there, attending to those families. So Itanand Bhai, the man who was the Guruji, he was Channa boy. So Channa Bhai was our Guruji, and he was so good in seeing the horoscope that unless he matched the horoscope, no marriage will take place. So you people will be sitting in a queue outside his house because जब तक चन्ना boy हाँ नहीं बोलेगा तो शादी नहीं हो सकती. So that was the kind of society we had, and then we had this another Vaza, केशव वासा केशव उसको भी केशव बॉय बुलाते थे. तो वो इतना बढ़िया खाना बनाता था कि जब तक वो अवेलेबल नहीं है तो शादी नहीं होती थी. Now it was very complicated. The both Guruji and the Vaza should be available and free on the same day. Then only
Yeah, the
marriage will
most
take place.
issues in
And
Kashmiri
marriages used to
marriages,
keep getting.
Guruji and Vaza is a must.
Uh,
Yeah, they are the most important personalities.
But they wanted only that Guruji and that Vaza. So that was very, and this
Special.
fellow was such a wonderful cook, because, and women used to try to find out how he cook, what is he putting on the top, because they also cook well, but they could never cook like him. So my mother used to be very clever. She will say, I will assist you. So whenever there's a weddings happening, she will become assistant to this Keshav Bhai and try to learn. But on the last minute, Keshav Bhai will tell me, Hadvi, ye ditho mehnat. So she will go to get that. Iske beech mein he will put the final masala, whatever he wanted to put the garnish. So he never told her. He said, she tried very hard. But then she was a wonderful cook. She would have learnt a lot. She was a great cook. And we kept eating Kashmiri food till she died in 2012. She passed away in Madras. But हर दिन उनके घर कश्मीरी खाना बनता था और we were going. I was going after office and eating that every day. So that was our life
While being in
in
Delhi, you used
and
to
there was
spend
this
your
nowadays.
holiday. You used to spend your yeah. Please, Navare. You continue with the Navare first.
So we were also doing Navare, and initially it was done also in Constitution Club, and where Mr. Nehru I have seen coming on Nehru. That it is only when the China war happened, उसके बाद उन्होंने आना बंद कर दिया. and then he became very
चाइनावार
depressed because we
चाइनावार के बाद
lost
टूट
that
गया
war.
था ना, काफी
Till
गठबंधन टूट
till
गया।
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल टूट गए थे. He didn't come after that, and so we stopped having it in Constitution Club. We used to get Constitution Club because Prime Minister will come. There was a cabinet minister called Karchu, who was the grandfather of this Chief Justice Karchu's grandfather.
चीफ जस्टिस कॉन्स्टिट्यूट।
So he used to come. So and we had the tea parties. We have been lifted by Nehruji, put in our lap, given fondled and I mean we had a great time. I mean as children I one day he picked me up and I had dirty feet because I was playing in the मिट्टी में खेल रही थी. So the entire my the my marks of the mud were on his white achkan. And he didn't say anything. And then his aide ran to the car and brought another achkan, and he wore another achkan. So they didn't bother that his achkan has been spoiled. So afterwards, we started having this Navre festival. It was great festival. We used to have it in Pirosha Kotla. So you
या
may know about Firozshah Kotla. So Firozshah Kotla
या
में वो क्या हाँ तो उस टाइम सारे लोग वही आ जाते थे. There was only one celebration done. It was done in Sri and people will even Kotru family with Jawaharlal Kotru. He will even carry his harmonium there. पता नहीं कैसे वो उठा के लाते थे. And then they will have cook lunch on the spot. सब लेके आते थे मीट मटन मटन ये सब पनीर. And then there will be so many games for children, games for women. There will be a sack race for women, sui dhaga ka race, thread and needle race for women, then couples ke liye three-legged race and all that. And there will be also the tug of war, all that. And we were looking forward to this day every year ki navre aayega navre aayega. Then of course we'll be running around in the ruins of that Firozshah Kotla. We'll be getting onto that Ashoka's pillar and the Bul Bulaiya. There was a maze also there. It was wonderful celebrations. But I believe later on when the community enlarged and the many places they were living, not every there were some more venues. I don't know how Navre is celebrated now. I have not been to Delhi Navre for a long
must
time,
have changed over
but it
the
was wonderful that. But people, another thing I want to tell you about Delhi, these women used to fast. This I've seen in Kashmir also. When
yeah
fasting, they have too many fasts, and the fast, they will say we'll break together. So the whole gang of friends or relatives or aunts or sisters and babis will gather in one place, and then they will keep one kambal, kambal blanket. Blanket के ऊपर खाना खाते थे. That day they use blanket. I mean
blankets
blanket maybe was more sacred and more holy. So blanket के ऊपर the big thalis में they will have huge quantity of khana and huge quantity of sabzis. There will be at least six, and like a big dawat. And actually they'll be overeating. And then morning they would have already eaten chai with the aloo, tara hua aloo, fried fried potato wedges, and after that they'll be eating singade ka pakode, the
सिंगाड़ा पकोड़ा
chestnut
या
flour.
that's my favorite one
There will be pakoras and puris with that. They will eat that, and then evening they will have this big meal in the afternoon, say about 3 o'clock, and it will be so huge. And then they will gossip and talk good and bad, everything. And then they will not get up because if they get up, the meal is over. So they will sleep there itself. And then they'll be woken up for tea because they cannot go without taking tea, So sheer chai will be made. So they will rest, they will gossip, they will be sitting there only with that kambal, and then chai will come. They will have that chai, and then only they will get up. And that would be
get
their
up
hak batt. This used to be, and then of course, one thing was happened when they will break there, when they are going home, because they would have talked so much ill of other people, then they will say, Marun Thar se yaad, Marun Thar se yaad. Well, in a certain way, they're telling that we should not sin and we should remember we have to die one day and show our face to the God. So I remember these things that actually when they were fasting, and we used to wanting to eat all those pakodis and potato veggies because we thought they're having a good time and we are not having. So we will stand outside kitchen asking for all those things. So that was very
You
interesting.
were
And
you,
I'll
you
tell
were
you
you
this
were
Vatuk, which
during your holidays you used to spend a part of your year in Kashmir only. Some part of your year
yeah,
in
yeah, we
Kashmir.
used to go. Yeah, yeah, summer vacation. We'll go this Narpur. That's why I have more memories of this part. And I remember this. And once I fell sick, and I was sick. I got typhoid or some kind of thing. I was sick for 6 months. So I was lying by that window only, which was overlooking the river. And I was saved by that window because I could see the river had its own life. And even one of my books I have described that, that from morning the fisherman will come, then boatman will come, the first children will go to mission school across the road wearing those beautiful red shirts and blue trousers. And then the tourists will come in the shikaras and they will pass through. Some of them take the city tour, and then the logs of woods will come, big logs of woods, and they will be
Woodlocks,
moving, and the
woodlocks.
people will be
That was the
standing.
transportation,
Wooden
waterways.
logs will be, yeah, they will get transported free of cost, and they will reach the factories where the wood is made into planks and etc. So that will come, then the singadas will come, then fruit wala will come, and all this kind of boats will keep going. So I
Those were
remember
famous
I spent
roads.
6 months recovering looking at the river and recovering. So that was the longest I've spent. And I said twice I went to do studies, corporate and health facilities. And then every year we went for weddings, and summer vacations were Kashmir. And we go and have picnics, and we go trekking to
You
Shankaracharya.
had your
We
first
take a
you had your
dunga.
Donga. Donga cruise was the best. Donga cruise.
We used to go to Dunga. We'll go to sometimes we'll whole
Kulamala.
families will go in Dunga to even Nehru Park and all. But some, we go to Kir Bhavani. That
Kir
was
Bhawan. Kulamala.
fantastic. So Kheer Bhavani about 50. We cooked it that we played. We had, so that used to be wonderful. So I've got many time in Dunga to both Nehru Park and Kheer Bhavani and other gardens. So that used to be wonderful. Um, uh, Experience. And then I remember the जो मेहंदी रात वगैरह होती थी, we didn't have people coming and singing from outside, only women. And men were not allowed to watch. They will be, they will take another neighbor's house, and that Mehendi Ras will be there. And only women will be singing, and one Gindan Gor will come. Only that one man was allowed, who was a Gindan Gor, and these women. And they will have great fun with him. No man was allowed. So that was the reason they will, and they will bring their father-in-law's coat and pagadi and danda and all. So they will act like father-in-law. They will act like susar, like elder brother-in-law. They will act like their husband. They will उनके नकल करते थे. They will ape them, and they'll make fun of them. They will make fun of mother-in-laws. So it was a very good cathartic experience. I watched this as a child. How women were so free and freely criticizing all the men, and even mother-in-laws who were sitting in front, and then wearing all this turban, and going like a Buddha, and talking like them. And it was wonderful the way they did their those mehendi rats and all. Very simple,
Celebrations.
beautiful, yet and it was, they did everything. Now they're not sitting like a spectator and somebody's coming and doing the performance. They were the performers, and that was really beautiful. And they really had a ventilated their feelings during those great functions. So that was one thing. Another thing I wanted to tell about Kashmir, again going back to Kashmir. After this Shivratri and all, next day, I used to see in my grandmother's house these quill fakir. I don't know whether you've seen them. They're like dancing dervishes. They used to come
Okay.
down and they
Dance.
will visit all the Hindu houses, and they will dance, perform a kind of dance there, and they will give rahi and all, and they will do salam and all, and they will be given gifts and money and all. So they came to claim their share of Shivratri, because they thought they also have something in it. They should be also rewarded. So I remember this. Then kids will say, "Oh, kul fakir chikayawan, kul fakir chikayawan." So I have seen those kul fakirs also. I don't know
Kul
whether
Fakir,
how many of you have seen. And
this
they'll,
word I have heard from my mom. Kul Fakir.
yes, kul fakir. So Timma Siva. and they will perform a dance, like the dancing dervishes in the gol gol. And there was another type of fakir who used to come to Manis Rane Asan Gadit. They will have anklets and all
Right.
that, ankle bells, and they will be having a danda in their hand, and they will not stop. They will beg like that. They can't stop. They will be just walking with that, making the sound of bells. So they are not supposed to. They're moving dervishes. The roaming
Right.
दरवेशेस wandering दरवेशेस they can't stop also. तो उनको ऐसे ही उनके पीछे पीछे भाग के उनको जो दान दक्षिणा खाना पीना देना है वो वैसे देना है. वो चलते चलते ही जाएंगे आपके आंगन में. वो they will be going round and round in your courtyard, and you have to give them dakshina like that. So that was another set of people I used to watch. So there was, but I remember one more incident I want to tell you because this Kashmiri thing is being discussed. My brother's wedding took place in Kashmir in 1964. So 64, we still wanted to do. It was still done in Napristan Ghat only, not in our house. It became Dadi's house became Nani's house became small. So another house was taken on rent for conducting the wedding. So some of the things were taking place like हफ्ता भर 10 दिन तो गाना चलता है. So it's not that one day you sing, have one sangeet. You are singing for bloody 15 days or 10 days or whatever, at least 1 week. And सुबह में बजाना शुरू करते हैं. So I remember my mother's childhood friends, many of them Muslim from the street, they have also grown up and they also were coming for these sing songs. So one day they told my mother, "Nahi, nahi, this is not enough. You people are singing whole night. We are getting to sing few, do, teen, char gaane. So you give us allot one night for us."
Oh.
So there was one full night of only Muslim women singing for my brother's wedding. They said दो चार गाने से क्या होता है. We are not satisfied. बुआत मैंने अंतरपत मैंने बाकी इशू तो ही क्या बनते ऐसे पूरे पूरे रात क्या बन. So my mom said okay. So then one night was allotted for these her childhood friends, or also there were local people, the doodh wali, the sabzi wali, the other women who were also or some of the people who are living around, neighbors. So they all came and they drove, they did singing for whole night for my brother's wedding. And it was 1964. And it was still demanded. We want a full night of sing song. So mom said, okay, why not? You're my friends. So we had a great time watching them. And I remember the songs which we not don't sing, the different songs, they're different repertoire. So two things I remember that this Guirbai, even at that time, were singing, they sang some Krishna songs also. You see,
Okay.
in their collective memory, the Krishna was still there because they must have been Yadavas, those who became Gur. At one point of time, they ought to have been Yadavas. So I remember listening to some Krishna songs which came from that. That is one memory I have. The second memory is I remember a beautiful song which these women sang, which was a young girl. The father, those days, if you get a fragrant soap because it used to come from England or something. It was a big gift. So
Okay.
and you wash your body with that, and your body smelled and all. So this young girl is singing, "Baban onnam sabne chota, ote panas mathaya." So it was so innocent that a person can be happy with just a bar of soap. And she's so grateful to her father who has brought her this bar of soap. With her, she's cleaning and making nice her silken body, which body is always silken. Oti panas malay. So I was so, it has this stuck in my mind. I was 16 then, but it remained in my mind how a person could be so happy with a bar of soap. That was the simplicity of common folk there in Kashmir.
Yeah. Ma'am, you have been you cleared your IAS in the year 1972. Was it the advantage of Delhi where you
Yes.
could get a coaching and other things and help around, which helped the city help you?
No. I mean, of course, the city would have helped me in the sense that I went to a good university, Delhi University. I went to a good
Delhi
college,
University
Delhi
at that
School of
time.
Social. work, I had all the good libraries available to me. But I didn't go for coaching because I was working and I didn't have time for coaching. So, but we were avid readers from childhood. So even as a small kid, I started reading. From my school, I'll walk 2 miles to Delhi Public Library and bring
Oh,
books. They were doing 8 books at that time. So as a school girl in fifth, sixth, seventh term, I walked and brought books from libraries. I used to read 1 book per day. So I mean, before I finished the school, I had finished all Tagore. I mean, it translated into Hindi, but all
Hindi.
Tagore, all Bankim Chatterjee, all the great
Hind,
authors of
Hind pocket books.
Tolstoy,
Hind pocket books.
everything.
Hind pocket books.
I also,
Yeah.
as
Get
far as
translated.
literature were concerned, yeah, but and from library and all that, and I mean, actually, we almost read 1 book every night. We used to go. I remember Mark Ethity, go and buy some saman from something from the shop, bring some snacks or buy some sugar or buy something. We'll be walking with a book in hand and reading. Of course, traffic was not that much, so we'll be going like that and buying things and coming back. So it used to be like that. So that was not a
You,
problem. We read a lot. I think the kids should read a lot. I mean, whether they read on internet or they read on books or however. If you keep reading from childhood, you already have a very vast knowledge. And then, what I was doing when I was doing my MA, we finish our classes, etc. by 3:34, but library closed at 6. So I sat in library every day, extra 2 hours. And then whenever it was possible, I went to the neighborhood Delhi School of Economics library. They have a Ratan Tata library, very beautiful, which is having a lot of humanities and a lot of other subject also. So there was open till 8 o'clock. So on twice a week, I will sneak into that and I will read there till 8. And on Sundays, we'll go to the university. We have a tutorial building where books can't go out, but they're wonderful books. You name any book and that will be there. Treasures. And so on Sunday, I'll go 8 o'clock in the morning, carry my lunch and everything. My mother will pack my lunch and give me. And it will close at 8 o'clock in the evening. 8 o'clock evening, I'll take my bus and come. So we even when we were preparing for exam, we prepared every day properly. And when I was working in All India Institute of Medical Sciences, and they had a beautiful library because the first health minister of India was Rajkumari Amrit Kaur. And she was a great
yeah.
reader. She had a great library which she donated to All India Institute. So that library we had all human. That was not a medical library. That was a general library, personal
General
collection of
library.
hers. So after work in All India Institute, when I was started working, I used to work as a research officer. So 4 o'clock my work will be over. I'll go there. And institute library was open till 7:30. So I could read till 7:30 there, and so there was plenty of. So that, of course, these institutions were there. I'm sure. And then we had British library, we had American library. So see, I wanted to read all foreign newspapers. Now you can read on internet. But those days
Yeah,
we
now
used to
it's
go to
privilege.
American library and read all the old issues. They used to give us old issues to read. Suppose we are following an issue, we will then read. So take 1 year papers, 2 years papers, and we'll go through them. Same thing for the British Council Library also. And then I was. For some time I was teaching in a school and I had to take a bus and it took about an hour to reach there. It was at the outskirts of Delhi called Rangapuri. So from Ajmeri Gate to Rangapuri, it took more than an hour to go. And I used to pick up books from British Council Library and read them in the bus while going and coming. I finished all my Shakespeare like that in that bus. So I think if you want to read, you will find plenty of time and opportunity to read.
Yes.
And so I was working till the end. Even I took leave only on the day of exam. So the
Oh,
day exam, because we were finishing the project, the research project had to end, and the committee was coming from England. I was working with professor of psychiatry. I was assisting him in the project. So it had to be done, and it was simultaneously coming to an end. So I was taking leave only the day of exam and coming back next day, working two days. There is no exam, going and working. And so because you are not doing rotation on the last day, you are doing doing it whole life. So I think if anybody is interested in young people interested, they have to start from school. Just read whatever you like, and then follow through the international
Ma'am,
events and everything proper.
ma'am, you have chosen. We'll talk about your books also, but you have chosen. You chose Tamil Nadu as your destination, your Karam Bhumi, and where you served with the long
Well, that
entire
happened
life.
because
Yeah, and
yeah,
you have
yeah. So see,
amalgamated with
happened.
that
I met.
culture, contributed in culture,
Yes,
contributed in
I
spirituality, in many dimensions. You are very respected personality in the country as well as in Tamil Nadu because of your work, because of your remarkable contributions. Tell us something about
do you
your
see?
story at Tamil Nadu.
Yeah. You see what happened that I met my fiance, my husband, present husband, Dr. Rajkumar. He was a student in Holiday Shoot. He was doing psychiatry with a professor with whom I was working as a research assistant. And
Okay.
we all used to have our rooms in outpatient, and his room was next to mine. And you know, he started we can say chasing chasing or whatever. So that's how it happened. And finally, I was not at all wanting to marry anybody from outside, because our parents were always drilling us, अरे तुम्हें कश्मीरी से ही शादी करना है, ये
कश्मीरी
वो
लड़का
किसी की तरफ मत देखना,
चाहिए.
ये मत, इसको मत देखना, उसको मत. Yeah. So and also, he was from Madras. He had to go back to Tamil Nadu, and they were so fond of me. They would just say, "We can't live without you." So that much of closeness, and I said that they will never agree. So I don't want to entertain, and I had no time. I was preparing for my exam. So where is the time for wasting on some anybody, any man or any boy for that matter. So I was not at all taking interest, but he was very persistent, and finally he told me, "Ki, let me meet your parents. I will talk to them. You don't have to introduce me. You don't have to tell them anything." So he went and did everything on his own. He met them on his own. He convinced them on his own. Then he went to Tamil Nadu, convinced his parents on his own. I had to just sit and watch. So finally, I don't know, everybody's agreed. That was, and one thing went in his favor, his surname was Bhatt. And, these Bhatts have originally gone from Kashmir, when the first exodus happened, so large number of Kashmiri Pandits left in 14th century itself, and then they went
Yeah,
to,
yeah.
some went via Bengal, some went straight, and they went to Mangalore. And these are Mangalorean people, Mangalorean Butts. And even Nehru in his discovery of India writes that they have originally migrated from Kashmir. And they have very painstakingly kept a very pure stock. Like till recently, we were trying to keep. They have tried. Of course, now it is getting diluted everywhere. But till now, Mangalorean women are very beautiful, very fair, had their own culture. They never married outside. They kept it very close. So, in fact, in our elders in the family, we never told them that they are not from Kashmir. To everybody, we said is but, and تم
You're
شنو دبان
Kashmiri.
كاشر شو قومت مشت كاشر شو قومت مشت Kashmiri
Oh,
boy. We managed Kashir should go with masjid karke, all the elders and all old dadis and nannies and all, we told them Rajkumar Bhatt, Gopal Krishna Bhatt's son.
He must
And
have been a smart man.
so they all he was very smart. So we had to put doing all this because still it was not done thing in 1974. I got married. It was not that this thing कि लड़की को मद्रासी के साथ भेज दें मद्रास क्योंकि वो तो
उस
मैंगलोरियन
जमाने
बट
में तो
है सारस्वत है they are Saraswat, but for everybody was a Madrasi.
चार सौ
So, but he did lot of work very hard to convince me. All I had to do to allow him to go and talk to my parents, and I said, "You don't tell him ye buddha badmash hai." So I said, "Okay, I won't tell that." He said, "You will spoil it by telling this fellow is a rogue and all that." I said, "Okay, I won't say that. Took a promise from me that I won't tell them, and I won't spoil his efforts." So I just kept quiet and watched from the wings. So that's how I came to Tamil Nadu. But I feel this is a great place because see, we have lost a lot of culture in India because of the uh, 700, 800,000, whatever years of Islamic rule, and
Incursions
then
have come, and because of that,
foreign
culture
rule
movement.
and all that, and all our see in Tamil Nadu, I mean in Delhi and all, you will say no temple is higher than a dwelling, because temples have to be hidden from the eyes of the ruling class which belong to another religion. So you will see our temples became so small, it became like ordinary cement structure, a little flag, whereas south has remained because it could not be so totally destroyed. But there were a lot of raids, and there were a raid on the Chanapalli temple, there was a raid on Madurai temple, some damage was also done. But by and large, we were able to retain these great culture centers. So today, I feel whatever of Indian culture and heritage is left, it is in South, and it is particularly in
It is in
Tamil
South,
Nadu and
no
little
doubt.
bit in Kerala,
Kerala and
and
South.
mostly it was in Tamil Nadu, and some bit in Kerala, some bit in Karnataka, Andhra also. So this is the repository of Indian culture which we need to preserve and promote. And particularly dance and music, the Tamil Nadu is the number one. And we have this great music festival in December, which is called Madras season. So I from childhood, I was fascinated by the South Indian dance. I saw my first performance when I was 15, 16, and there were great stalwarts dancing, Yamini Krishnamurthy and Indrani
Yeah.
Rahman, and all those people were dancing, and Kalanidhi, all those. So I am very fascinated, and the students also performed. So I had this great fascination. So when I came here, I was very much interested, and I used to dress up like a dancer. I'll put big kajal and long choti and all that. And so many people, and I'll go and see all the concert, and people used to ask me, "Where is your concert?" They'll assume that I was also a dancer in Tamil Nadu, because I'll dress up with those kind of saris, flowers, that. So so much identified with this. And then I was posted in Chidambaram as district collector of South Arcot district, where we have the great temple of Nataraja, Chidambaram temple.
Nataraja.
So that
Nataraja
as per
temple.
the custom, the day I joined, I was taken to the temple. I was taken to the temple for darshan of Lord Nataraja. So I went to the temple and had darshan. Then I asked him, it's Nataraja temple, that dance must be happening. They said, oh, that was stopped in 1932 itself, when the Anti-March Act came, when temple dancing was stopped. So that was very shock to me. I said, but now the British have gone and everything, and why can't we have a dance festival here like we have in Khajuraho and all that? So I started then fighting for that. And then and they said it is illegal because there's an act. But I said that is the Devdasis can't dance. We are not bringing Devdasis to dance. And
Devdasis
they're saying we should not dance
tradition.
in front of the deity, but we are the ordinary girls are going to dance. They're not Devdasis. There's no act against and then we are not going to dance in front of the icon. We are going to dance in the compound of the temple. So anyway, because I was just somehow pushed it through, and we conducted it. And since then, we also named it Natyanjali Festival, and we are conducting it during Shivaratri, 5 days prior to Shivaratri, and ends on the day of Shivaratri. So that is
That's
how
what.
I started this Natyanjali Festival in Chidambaram temple. See what happened. I went to looking for any dance school in Chidambaram. There was not one school of dance there. And now there are at least 10, 15 schools. And then I started in other temples. I became a commissioner of temples in Tamil Nadu. So there
Yeah.
were 30,000
That's what.
temples with government. So all the major temples like Meenakshi and Tanjore temple, everywhere we started dance festivals. So now it has become. Then finally, we started a big festival in Mahabalipuram, which is become world famous now. That also was started by me. Okay, actually, I've done more serve to Tamil culture than Tamil people have done, because they never started these things. But I went hammer and tong. In fact, I became tourism secretary, so I then conducted more dance festivals. Every tourism festival will have some dance, some music, and all. So I went on doing it. I also became first director of South Zone Culture Center. So again, I got that opportunity. So God also gave opportunity. Then I became director of culture, tourism, culture, South Zone, and finally, I started a dance festival in Chennai. It's called Vasant Utsav, which is in the big temple, Kapali temple in
Vasant
Chennai,
Utsav.
which is conducted by our family. My mother was involved. See, my mother has created a charity called Saraswati Educational, Cultural and Charitable Trust because Saraswati is our goddess. When my mother was alive, we registered this trust. This trust is still there. And so it conducts the dance festival, also honor Vedic scholars because again, Vedas are our heritage. They're whatever we have 5,000 years of history in Kashmir. Our
Yeah, we have
calendar
a
is
legacy.
5,000 year old. It's not. It's
Calendar is 5,000.
5,097. So
Vietnamese.
we can't have a calendar. We cannot have a calendar 5,000 year which says it is 5,000 suddenly emerging from somewhere. No, it has to be. It has to be. It is starting from the time of Mahabharata, and the new India started. Our calendar started from them. So we have to cherish and we have to relish our heritage. We have to be proud of it, and we have to preserve. And entire culture of it is our culture. So I feel that Indian culture, whatever has remained, wherever it has remained, in South or wherever, we need to preserve. So when we are doing this dance festival, we're getting dancers to come from Assam, from Odisha, from Kathak dancers, all kinds of Bihu, Kathakali, Kodiatam, all kinds of dances and Kuchipudis and all that. They come and perform in our festival. We do it for 10 days in Madras, which is very big festival. Two
That's so
performances per
wonderful.
day, 20 performances.
It
So 2 years
contribution.
because of COVID, those are because of COVID we couldn't do. But this year we got permission and we did this year. It was beautiful, wonderful. And honoring Vedic scholars is Vedic and Sanskrit scholars because we should not forget Sanskrit. We should not forget Vedas. Vedas are what connect us to
Vedas are the
divine. Even if you
core
hear
core
Vedic chanting,
thread of
you
our existence.
automatically.
Yeah, yeah, the core of our existence. Let's come to your book site now because
I think I'm
we'll
talking too much. Am I talking to?
no, 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 no. You're talking now. It needed. I am grabbing the
Okay,
information
I'll
because
show
the
you my books
conversation
on.
what I need. We need a lot of information, and you got it in a very limited available possible time. It is again frozen. Yeah, yeah. Now I would like to go to the book site. Your
I'm trying
first
to
book,
show you my
I would like
book.
you wrote
Can you
about
see it?
spirituality. You wrote about it's a biographical one. Your beautiful journey from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. Let's
No,
talk
this
about
is
this
the
book
one.
first.
No, I'm going to discuss only Kashmir books. I've
Okay,
written
let's
three
talk about
where
Kashmir.
Kashmir is mentioned. One beautiful journey, Kashmir to Kumari. This one. So Kashmir to Kanyakumari, it's more autobiographical. The first chapter is about Kashmir because, and it starts from 1855 or 1856 when my great grandfather was in the Maharaja service as a police officer. He was, Kotwal, we can say Kotwal of Srinagar with Maharaja's time. And
Okay.
he was very brave and he had his horses, he had a huge house in Suilanka near Danavari, which was
Well,
like a, and house, not one house, I believe that was three, four, five, mansions put together with footbridges and wooden footbridges connecting them at different levels of the thing. And I believe what my mother has described, that was her grandmother's house, and there were in every bedroom there were paintings from the Umar
beautiful.
Khayyam's Rubaiyat, and the Rubaiyat
Oh,
was written under that. And then every room had a different balcony, a different design, and all that. So lived in great style. That was the great grandfather, and then he passed away early. He was very severe with all these robbers and thieves and all that. Then when he died, that one thief whom he had arrested and put in jail and all that, then he was free, and he started harassing my grandmother alone. Ranim, uska naam tha. She was called Rani bulate. So he used to come and with a horse and come under her window, bedroom window, and say, Rani Hushar Chaka. So she used to say, Ahanba Vadan Chase. So uh, because she has to keep awake because and then what she did, she put all the gold, and all the gold is used to be made wealth, तो she made a potli and उसको अंदर फेरन के अंदर बांध के रखती थी. on her, she will put it on her waist, फिर ऊपर से फेरन पहनती थी. तो सारा जो भी 1 2 4 किलो गोल्ड जो था वो उसके बॉडी पे बंधा रहता था रात को. So one day I believe this fellow entered the house and she jumped out of window, got on her horse and ran away. He could not catch her.
Oh, oh,
So, a very, very bold lady. But this fellow had a bad end. Finally, when in one police chase, he was on the top of Kathi Darwaza. Kashmir mein that big, on way to Parbat, there is Kathi Darwaza.
Party
Kathi
Darwaza,
Darwaza
yes,
se wo gir gaya,
famous one,
that thief.
famous one.
And he fell down and he died. And then only she had relief. Otherwise, every day, and one day, she was not there and he entered her house, he could not find anything. Went and defiled her kitchen in her kitchen. She was so मेरी औरतों के लिए kitchen तो पवित्र होता है. तो बेचारी को all she had to get lot of gobar and other things and redo her whole kitchen. लिपना पड़ा गोबर से and all that. So that is also a story. Then this Layuk था उसका नाम था. The robber was called Layuk. So Layuk entered her house and did not find her, did not find any wealth because he always kept it on her body. And then he went and उसके दान में बैठ के he passed his motion. So to upset her greatly. So he was very upset, but they had to read the whole kitchen again. उसको हवन करके शुद्ध करना पड़ा and all that. So these are the stories about my great grandmother. Anything else?
Yeah. Actually,
Or we
I
have
wanted
finished
to
our
know
time?
I wanted to know about this. Slightly your picture was frozen because I think you are coming near to the instrument. I would like to say that what about the gist of this book from Kashmir? It is your biographical account. It was your biographical account. Your complete story from Kashmir to Kanyakumari. We were talking about this book. Yeah.
That was by then. Yeah, I will show the other book also. This is the. I think some people would have seen this. Kashmir, the land of
This is a very
Kashyapa, the
popular,
saga of
popular.
Kashmiri
This is
Pandits.
popular
So
picture. Yeah,
this,
very popular.
see, this is the book I thought to pay tribute to my parents who loved Kashmir so much and who created the love of Kashmir in me. I said our culture is in danger after the exodus and all. And after my retirement, I was feeling very guilty because I was not serving there. I could not help people there. I said I have to do my duty. At least I'll document our culture and I document our story. So this book starts 5,000 years ago when we were children of Rishi Munis and
Yeah,
the history and then
stages.
comes to 14th century, then the Muslim rule begins. But one thing is very clear if you see, nothing in this, no major contribution has been made in Kashmir after 14th century. Before that, the contributions are enormous. So what happened
All
after 14th
contributions
century?
and
These
only
people,
after 14th century, only Dogra rulers. Dogra rulers have made a contribution. That is the 1 century of Dogra rulers. That was wonderful.
no,
Rest
what I
all
think the contribution in terms of books,
no
no, in contribution in terms of books,
Dogra rulers
literature,
created institutions. They created literature. They helped these literary personalities from Kashmir. Dogra rulers did a lot of job. Only Dogra rulers. No other ruler has helped
yeah,
Kashmir
but
to any.
yeah, that is true. But the thing is, no great works of the level of Raj Tarangani or Katha Sarit Sagar, yeah,
No.
Abhinav
Those were ancient
Gupta's
masterpieces.
commentary on Natya
Those were ancient
Shastra.
masterpieces. That's a
So,
old ancient
see,
system. Yeah.
until 40, no, but up to 14th century, there were even this one Zona Raj Tarangani, Zone Raja wrote
Monaraja,
another thing about
Raj Tarangini.
Raj Tarangani. He wrote another history sequel. But
Alana,
after
Donaraja,
14th
yeah.
century, what happened? No, nothing of great work of importance. See, there are 24 treaties in Sanskrit, out of which 22 were written in Kashmir. Only 2 were written outside Kashmir. And what happened? So, what is the contribution this alien culture made there? Even in their Persian or something, they could have produced a ruby or they could have produced a,
Even
whatever Dalib.
even
Nothing of that.
Katha Sarit Sagar has traveled from here and it has went to the Arabia and the Iran. Even their chronicles, they have a mention. They have the textures of Katha Sarit Sagar. Yes,
It is it has gone around the world. It is the basic primer for all folklore of the world. So what I'm saying, what is the major contribution made? I'm sorry to say, but this is a reality
sultans have done
because
nothing.
our people were
Sultans
not
have done nothing.
encouraged.
No.
Our
Sultans
people
have
were
done
not
nothing
encouraged.
except
They were at the See, at the most, they were told to, write some commentary or write some translation. Even sultans
small
made
things
them.
here and
Even
there.
Mughal period, they have done translations of Upanishads and Gita and all that. Some Jahangir, Shah Jahan, Dara Shikoh, some of these people commissioned that. But not original works have happened. So this is what we have to remember. We could not
Certainly,
do.
certainly.
So
I
the
agree with
third,
you.
so I not only that. So this book is a tribute to Kashmir, but at last chapter I had to write about what happened in 90s and why this book is happening because we need to tell our younger generation where we are coming from, who we are. Even if today we are outside, our culture we should take to the rest of the world and make them a better people because we were taught to be. I'm not trying to be proud and vain, but I'm trying to say that we tried to be better human beings. And for example, even in my house, till my mother died, she cooked one extra course of rice, put one extra cup,
Every day.
and she said, thy post will come. So thy post है, God send guest will come. And always invariably she will force somebody to eat in our house सुबह शाम कोई नहीं तो जब मैं शाम को ऑफिस आती तो मेरे ड्राइवर को भी बैठ चाचा खाना खा के जा and then she will put big thali and put everything like जैसे भगवान के लिए खाना लगाते हैं तो दैट काइंड ऑफ कल्चर वी हैव सीन हमारे घर में दिल्ली में पोस्टमैन डाक लेके आता था तो पहले उसको पानी पिलाते थे कभी अगर
Yeah, that
टाइम
was
है तो धूप होती थी दिल्ली में बहुत दैट काइंड ऑफ कल्चर यू लुक्ड आफ्टर एवरीबडी the sweeper woman used to come. Nobody was allowing her inside the house. They were in our compound in Sitaram Bazaar. They were taking rest under the tree. Mother was giving some extra food to eat. My father was a doctor. He was telling them they have to take bath. We had a nalka in the angan. They used to take bath after the work because he used to say, "You people will fall sick." And he saw to those girls took bath and wore clean clothes and ate and rested and then they used to sing and dance for us. My mother will say, "Ab Gana Gao." So then they will start, their folk songs. So I have even learned the folk songs which sweeper girls used to sing in Delhi those days. So they will say, "मेरी अटरिया पे कागा बोले मेरा जिया डोले कोई आ रहा है." I still
that's so
remember
beautiful.
these songs because, and and then our neighbors will say, "अरे why are you entertaining these people or sweepers? They are अछूत है मैं तो मेरे father के लिए कोई हमारे कश्मीरी शेविज्म में सब बराबर है everything is universal
They're all
everybody can
equals.
achieve God and we are all equal and we are all human." So they taught us
And
this
you're talking about
good
this
things. So
book.
we're very
You're
proud of
talking
that.
about this book. You wanted to say something
Katha
more about
Sarit
this book.
Sagar. This is
Katha.
the last one. I think Sarit Sagar.
I had
I
already a
think the other
discussion
day
with
Naj
Mehru
Nehru,
about this, but
we wrote it together. So this is the one we wrote together because when I was writing the saga book, I asked him to write a foreword. After he wrote foreword, he said, "Look, I have also got a few things collected about Kashmir and." Can we do it together? Can we just make a book and you put it? So then I said, okay, because I know he's so busy that we can do it together so it will happen. So I wrote parts of it, he wrote parts of it, then I put it together and then it came out quite all right. And it's a nice, easy to read book. There's little stories about Kashmir
but
and God willing, maybe we'll do some more books.
Ashok Obra had given a wonderful review of this book, and he has said that they had put their vocabulary to the diet. Both the authors have put their vocabulary to the diet, and this is very lucid. Anybody can place into the. I mean, just go through this book in a very easy mood. There is no complication, there are no stumbling blocks that one opens up to the next page. So that is something great about this book.
No, no. We made it very simple to read. Very simple to read.
Okay.
And small chapters so that people can open the book anywhere and padlo. So that kind of thing.
So that's so wonderful. Any I you have been also on the board of the schizophrenic. You have been dealing with the patients. You are doing a lot of social work apart from culture and spirituality. You are also into these people who are into the mentally sick
Yeah.
people. You
See,
help them out. Yeah.
yeah, because my husband is a psychiatrist and I was a psychiatric social worker. I started my life as a psychiatric social worker in All India Institute. So when we came here, along with his professor Sharda Menon, we set up Schizophrenia Foundation of India. I am one of the founders and I'm still serve on the board of SCAR.
Oh,
SCAR. But my main passion now is Vitasta Welfare Fund, which we are working in Jagati and other camps. I go there twice a year at least, and I work with the children, education, textbooks, computers. We strengthen their lending library they have, sports. And during the COVID, we also gave medicines and things. So I'm now concentrating also on our own migrant population, our displaced people to help them
yeah,
and
yeah. You
strengthen
must.
them. I want those
That is
kids
also
should
help our Kashmiri brothers, Kashmiri
that is,
children.
that is my main passion. I'm going there now. Even on 25th of September, I'm conducting job fair there. A lot of companies will come there, and youth will be interviewed, and maybe some of them will get jobs. So I'll be visiting again on 25th of September, Jammu. That's my passion. And this charity, which our Saraswati Trust itself is a charity, we work with payment vulnerable children in Chennai and displaced children from Kashmir in Jammu. So they are both called Bird's Nest Project. So this is my one of the major project. Then we conduct dance festivals, we publish useful books, and we help do humanitarian aid to people.
You are also contributed a lot to the women development of women welfare. That has been your core
Yes, I've written
strength, core
several books. I've See, I believe that we could address poverty through women. So I've always worked addressing poverty through women. And now also I am heading the charity of Equitas Bank. And we are
oh,
hand holding 30 lakh women who have taken micro loans from Equitas. And we're conducting job fairs for them, we're conducting health camps, we're running 8 schools, and we're setting up a cancer institute in Chennai. We have to will give affordable cancer treatment, so which is under construction. So I
that's
will
so great.
we
That's
just keep
better than the philanthropy, the best possible philanthropy that you are doing for such a great causes. And normally, a bureaucrat who retires, he just sulks down in his comforts and he doesn't come out. But it is you. I mean, you have retired many years from now, and yet you are active, and your passion for this philanthropy, for helping women, eradication of power, mental illness. That is something very fascinating, a very inspiring personality that you are. Before we conclude this,
Sir,
I would like, yeah, please, you're saying something.
I must say that I am daughter of a freedom fighter. So
Hooray.
that came to us in our blood.
Your father was a
My
freedom
father
fighter?
has, yes, he went to Lahore in 1926 when Nehru called all the people to come and take oath on the banks of Ravi. He was 14-year-old. He ran away from his home in Kashmir and went.
Right.
So I'm the daughter of that man. So he's quoted arrest 3 times. He was arrested during Shimla Adhiveshan. He was arrested during Quit India movement, and he was arrested again in Lucknow Congress session.
So that's so wonderful. Any message you would like to give to our community in particular and people in general
Uh,
before we conclude this session?
No, I will say that feel proud of your culture and try to understand it and maintain it. Even if we marry outside, doesn't matter because marriages will happen now. The world is becoming one. We can't be now. Uh, but still, I see a lot of kids are trying to go back and marry Kashmiri families. It's also very interesting. I had my cousin who's married to a Punjabi, her daughter married a Kashmiri. So it was very interesting. But it doesn't matter. Thing is to maintain culture. Maybe we go to another home, we teach our culture to them. We teach them. We make people more inclusive. We make our religion more inclusive because Kashmiri religion was Shaivism was always very inclusive, and ours is the only religion which says that while you can do material things, you can pursue worldly things, you can still attain salvation. And it says the
Yes,
world is not Maya, world is real, and a real absolute cannot create an artificial world. So we have to take this world, our duties also seriously, and we
this
can
is
very
part of
much
the God.
progress
God
spiritually.
governed. Yeah.
Yes, yes. So thank you very
So
much
what a
and
really,
love you
and
all.
thanks a lot.
And
Thank you very much. It was a great pleasure, and we are really honored that you are on our conversation today. We'll have another discussion with you on some other topics and other subjects because your canvas is very
we
wide.
will, we will.
But thank you very much for today.
Yeah,
You
yeah, we
came
can
and
do that.
talked to
You
us.
see, my Guruji is behind me. You can see him, Swami Lakshmanju.
Yeah, Sami Lakshman, you are a very handsome. Yeah, there's a guru. It looked like Sami Lakshman. You, I want. Yeah, now I can see. He's your Guruji too.
So
There are some there
yes, he's like
one.
my father. Uh, mm, yeah. So he's my
There are some.
spiritual father, we can say.
Thank you. No, he was a wonderful. I mean, he brought back. Swami Ramji, he Aftabji. They brought back this entire Abhinav Gupta Parampara back to the fore of the present days. I would like to ask one thing before going. These Gariyalis, I have seen there are some old Gariyalis in Karnal as well. They live in Karnal, and some Gariyali families in Srinagar also. So Gariyalis are also, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
scattered. They are old as well as new. Yeah.
There's only one family, only one family. They were in Milanawari. They moved to Maharajganj, and Maharajganj first they were called Tikkus, and Maharajganj when they moved, they made a big house there. उसके ऊपर शायद गड़ी बड़ी थी कुछ, तो लोगों ने गड़ियाली गड़ियाली बुलाना शुरू किया. तो हमारा जो एंसेस्टर था वो था भवानी प्रसाद गरियाली, वे ग्रेट स्कॉलर, he had a big library of manuscripts and all, which later got destroyed. But that's our place, Maharajganj. And it's only one family. All the Gariyalis are very few, and they're related to us. They're in Melbourne, there's in America, and Pune, New Delhi, and
Karnal,
now in Madras and
Karnal,
other places.
Karnal also,
Karnal,
Karnal.
because now they're Karnal also. So basically, they all from one family. There would be more than 100 now, very few.
Thank, thank you. Thank you. That was we end with that wonderful note of your Garyali family and remain inspiring and keep inspiring all the people and
Thank you,
good
sir.
health,
Thank you.
long life, best wishes. Thanks a lot.
Thank you for
So,
having me.
thanks. So that was Dr. C.K. Garyali, the 1972 batch Kashmiri woman, civil servant who was into he's proactive even after her retirement 10 12 years back. He's back into this philanthropy, helping women out, into spirituality, in the temple dancing, into this I mean eradication of poverty, eradication of apartheid, and I mean savior. Supporting our culture. Reflecting our culture, saving our culture, and documenting our culture. So she's a wonderful, multifaceted personality. I mean, we had a very technical snacks in the beginning on her sites, so that's why because it didn't have a very good start. But then again, for that matter, we must go to the content rather than the screen. So I think content was very powerful. The way she, unraveled Kashmiri traditions and the musics and the styles and the structures and the folks, even in Delhi as well as in Srinagar. So that's a very rare insight. So I really enjoyed this entire discussion. I hope you must have also enjoyed this. With that, I would like to say, before I go, I'd like to couplet to share with you with Nida Fazili. अपनी मर्जी से कहाँ अपने सफर को हम हैं, अपनी मर्जी से कहाँ अपने सफर के हम हैं, अपनी मर्जी से कहाँ अपने सफर के हम हैं, रुख हवाओं का जिधर जिधर का है उधर हम हैं, अपनी मर्जी से कहाँ अपने सफर के हम हैं, रुख हवाओं का जिधर का है उधर के हम हैं. So, with that wonderful spirited this couplet from Nida Fazali, I would like to call it a day. It was so great to be with all of you. We had a late start today. We had a snack, but then again, the content was very strong, as it is there always in the Sheetalnath conversations. Thank you very much. Next week, next Sunday, we'll be participating with another wonderful subject with another great personality. Thanks a lot. Shabba Khair. Jai Hind.